What was your take on the weekend crackdown?
I got to be honest, man, I was a bit torn. When I first heard about the crackdown and just being a part of the game, obviously I've played for a long time, so I'm not that good with change, and it just felt like it wasn't the game that I actually grew to love and love playing. And then when I thought about it more and more, the times are changing, and as a game we have to change with the times. And so I do support the game and what they're doing. It's just, as a player, sometimes it's hard to take those changes on and run with them, but it's not about me. It's about everyone else, and that's something that I'm having to come to terms with.
Now, I know you've spoken about this and reacted Sunday night. You've had more time to think about it. You're kind of our go-to guy when it comes to head knocks. Don't take that the wrong way.
No.
Was it like an elbow on the ribs to you the weekend?
No, first of all, I've got to say, I do enjoy the clamp down on the ruck infringements, because that's a problem that we can solve by putting people in the bin, and you can learn from that.
Explain that to me again.
So the ruck infringements,
yes.
Consistent ruck infringements being sent to the bin.
Professional fouls.
Professional fouls.
Yep.
That sort of stuff.
Got
I'm
that.
All on board with that. And I think we're going in the right direction. It's the right idea what we're going to do. So I think what we've seen is an increasement in the punishment, but what that's done, I think it's compromised the product. And is there a way? How? Well, we're seeing 11v13. And I know you're going to point to examples of Canberra won with 12 men. I think the product's compromised, and I thought about this and thought, can we deal with it in a way that we don't compromise the product? And my belief is they should be harsher post-game. I agree with Coach Robinson's thoughts yesterday around the subjective view of maybe a grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 system on the run, and obviously that will come into criticism from coaches and stuff like that. But these rules have increased the pace of the game, the decision-making time, and stuff like that. And I think we're such a reactive sport. We saw Victor Radley a couple of weeks ago get let off with a tackle on Cameron Murray for contact around the head. He went to the judiciary and he got off with it. Like, do we not just clamp down on the judiciary?
I think you're right. There does need to be change there. I think they have dropped the ball for a long time.
The judiciary?
The judiciary and the match review.
I
don't think players have been charged seriously enough.
Too many players get off.
Even on the weekend, there was a couple there I thought were definite charges, penalties in the game, but that's as far as it went.
How often do they get off? How often do they go and fight it?
Doesn't that put the onus then back on the NRL prosecutor? Because the idea of a judiciary is that you get a chance to go and argue your case in front of an independent panel.
Yeah, and the way we had it in terms of an incident being put on report or an incident being picked up by the match review panel, increase the severity of the punishment.
Recalibrate the rule, the suspension.
Post the event, and then you don't compromise the product.
So you're talking about the gradings.
Recalibrate the grading. Says rather than be a 1 week penalty, it's a 3 week penalty. A 3 week becomes a 6 week or whatever.
So there's this idea now that because the game's clamping down on certain tackles, high tackles mainly, that there's going to have to be a change in the player's defensive technique. Do you agree with that? Is it possible? And if so, how long will it take to change?
Okay, I'll answer that question with the question. Who's the best defensive team over the last 15 years?
Storm?
Yeah. Okay, so do you not think over every off-season, all those clubs that have been struggling defensively just go, well, let's just defend like the Storm? It's easy to change your technique and your systems. If it was that easy, everyone would defend like the Storm. The intricacies of defence and the subtlety and deception of attack, it's almost an impossible problem. A couple of examples on the weekend, you could make a case in point that Papali'i drops to go into contact and yet still collects him around the head.
But he still had a zone, a strike zone, that began here and probably was up.
There it is.
Okay. Maybe he needs to drop it even further so his strike zone's there.
Yeah. Perhaps it is.
That's the adjustment that needs to be made.
Again, you go back to the ball carrier. And what is the ball carrier looking to do? What's a threat? It's an offload, so you've got to go wrap up the ball, or it's a quick play the ball.
Yeah.
And, we talk about, the legs tackle. You brought the point up before, and I think Coach Robinson brought it up as well, that you're actually endangering yourself.
Yeah. Because the ball player does dig himself further in the line than they used to 20, 30 years ago.
Particularly
when there
the good
was
ones, yeah.
The good ones do.
They turn their hips into contact.
And you know what? I've got to say this. I don't envy Peter V'landys having to sort this out, and the pressures that are on him from potential lawsuits and participation numbers at a junior level. I don't envy it.
Particularly when he's got guys like Paul Ken asking the tough questions relentlessly. Seriously. What might have to change across the training week?
Well, some stuff already changed today. Like Wayne's really behind this, not attacking the head stuff. So we're doing quite a lot of stuff where he was hitting through the middle, practicing tackling through the middle, not so much high tackling and not so much low tackling. It was a lot around the rib area. But you know, if we don't change, we're just going to keep getting sent off. So the players are going to have to change.
Because we all hear about these heavy full contact sessions that you guys do early in the week.
Yep.
And I'm sure there are numerous examples where guys suffer the same way at training they do in games. Would
Well,
that be
look,
fair?
Kiri got knocked out, remember? He was out for
You've got to
weeks.
train how you play.
At training.
And they're full contact. Like you got to prepare to play.
And so is the expectation now in the clubs that if that happens on a Tuesday, that the same rules apply as it happened in a game?
Well, it has to, because if you don't adhere to what the rules have been given, the rules have been the same, obviously, but they're being policed different as started on the weekend. So if we don't go with the policing, we're going to be suffering with 11 against 13 if that's our team doing it. So you have to change if you want to be with the times. And you know, I don't want to be playing against 13 with 11 players.
No, that's right.